welcome back to Sherburne Public Library's Book Talk. This week we are reviewing some new mystery books that we have in at the library. So we're going to start off with Megan, I think. So go ahead, Megan.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about The Less Dead by Denise Mina, who is a Scottish author. The book is about Margot, and she's actually a doctor in Scotland. And she finds out that her adoptive mother has just passed away. And she's also newly pregnant and newly single. So she decides she wants to find her birth mother. So she goes in search of her birth mother, and she ends up meeting her aunt instead. And her aunt tells her that her birth mother was actually murdered years ago and that the killer was never found. So her mother was a teen sex worker and drug addict. And that's actually where the title comes from, The Less Dead. Apparently it's a term used by some people to describe people in society who are considered sort of less important, meaning their deaths are not as significant, I guess, which is awful. But the aunt, this woman's aunt, has been receiving, I guess you'd say, threatening letters over the years, and also letters that sort of detail the murder of her mother. So she asks Margot if she can help her find the killer after all these years. And she knows that Margot is a doctor and maybe has more resources to help find this person. And then Margot ends up receiving a letter herself. And so she realizes she really has to do something to figure out who this person is and to make it stop. So basically I guess it's more of a feminist take on a murder novel. It deals more with Margot finding herself, and also the relationship between her and both of her mothers, I guess you would say, and also deals with sort of the concept of how we treat certain people in our society. So I don't know. It seems really good so far. I haven't finished it, but I know that it was on one of the New York Times. I think it was on the like book of the week or the month or something like that. So, and I know that Reese Witherspoon has also had this author on her list for her book club. So I think it's sort of an interesting take on that sort of traditional mystery.
Yeah, I like that it has all those like social issues too.
Right.
And did you say it takes place in Scotland? Is that what you
Yes.
said?
Mm-hmm.
Which I love too, because I love Scotland. So that's really cool. I have to admit, I'm not a huge mystery fan. I'm just going to state that up front. But after like reading the book that I've been reading and, hearing about other ones, it's just kind of cool. Maybe I should read more mystery. I don't know. I just have never picked it up. I always reach for something else. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually pick up mysteries either. So I think the book that Megan picked out maybe might be more appealing for somebody like me because it has that whole other social component. Like there's other layers to it. So I think that would make it a little more interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. Cool. All right. So Miranda, you want to give us yours?
Yeah, so the book that I have is called House of Correction. It's by Nikki French. And this book is about a girl named Tabitha who lives in England. And she has just moved back to her hometown. She's only been there for a few weeks. And she doesn't really know anyone. She's not really, her parents are both passed away. She doesn't have any close friends. So she's kind of isolated, and she has a history of depression. But she has this contractor who's been coming to the house that she purchased to help her fix it up. And when he goes out to her shed, he trips on something in the dark, and lo and behold, there's this body rolled up in her shed that's all bloody. And turns out it's her neighbor who also used to be a teacher of hers. And the story, when it starts out, she's already in prison. She's going to be on trial. But so all of the thing is, everything is from her perspective. And you get the sense right from the get-go that you're not sure if you can trust her. She's very forgetful. She can't remember what happened that day, or like even things currently going on within the system. You can't tell if she's just overwhelmed and in shock, or if she actually has some sort of other mental issue going on. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a psychological thriller because of that too, because she's just, you can't trust her, and she seems like she might be unpredictable. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out.
Yeah, I love that. It's a kind of psychological thriller, like you said. That is interesting to me too. I've always kind of found those kind of stories more interesting, I guess. And so I guess also we're seeing that, like, oh gee, mysteries aren't just one note, so to speak. There are several layers and different kinds, obviously. So this is a good learning for me. So I'm going to have to do better on reading mysteries.
I love the idea that you don't know if the narrator if you can trust them. I don't know. That's interesting. And I feel like I've read books like that before, and it's just the ending always shocks you, it feels like, if that's the case. So.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's probably going to be the case with this book, but I have no clue how it's going to turn out right now, which makes it more exciting, I guess.
Sounds like it's going to be twisty, like there's going to be several twists in it. So that'll be interesting. I like that. So the one I chose is called Shadows in Time. It's by Julie McElwain. I chose it because it's a time travel murder mystery type book, and I'm fascinated with time travel. I didn't realize that it's a series when I first picked it up, and I just started reading it. And then I realized, oh, this is a series, and this is actually number 5 in the series. But the thing that I'm finding is that I am able to pick it up and still read it and not feel too lost or anything. I'm sure there are some things that aren't clear, like how she's in 1815 or 16 London. She was her name is Kendra Donovan. She was a FBI agent in modern times, and something happened, and this is part of the part that I'm missing because I haven't read the first book. Somehow she tumbles back in time. So she she's been taken in by the Duke of Aldridge, who is she's kind of his ward in that time period. But he knows her secret, apparently. He knows that she's a time traveler. And I don't know if she can travel back and forth yet. I haven't gotten that far in it. But so what's happened is she gets approached by this lady who wants her help in finding her business partner who's gone missing. And the lady seems very suspicious, but she takes it on, of course, because she's an FBI agent and that's her kind of thing. She loves solving mysteries. And she prefers it to all the other things that young ladies are supposed to be doing in this time period, like embroidery and, learning the pianoforte and things like that. That's not her thing. So she, starts to starts interviewing people. That's about as far as I've got with it. So I don't know how it's all going to turn out. But the other story that happens along with it is that the Duke of Aldridge had lost his daughter. Somehow they thought she's dead when she was younger. She's presumed dead. And suddenly this woman shows up, young woman, could very much be his daughter, and knows a lot of things about their life and her life when she was a young girl that makes him think that maybe she is his daughter, but we're not sure. Kendra is very suspicious and not believing her story, even though she does seem credible. There's just something about it that makes her not believe it. So So there's two little storylines going on, and I find it really interesting because, of course, being in that time period is always a fascination to me. That, I guess, a Regency, I think, time period. All the things that are young women are expected to do, as opposed to things that they really might want to do, especially being a modern woman like herself. So it's really interesting, and I think I'm going to have to go back and read it from the first book. There's, like I said, this is the fifth one. And apparently she writes a book like every year, because she started in 2016, and every year a new one has come out. And I also saw that it's the series has been optioned for TV or movie development, so that might be interesting too. I think that it could make a very good one, just from the way it reads. Kind of reads like a movie, or a series. So I recommend it because I found it very interesting. And I think if you don't like traditional murder mysteries or whatever, I mean, this is a murder mystery, but you might find it more interesting if maybe you hadn't jumped into that genre like I haven't. So I recommend that too. So
it's so funny that you picked this one, because I feel like this is perfect for you, because I know you love Outlander and
yes.
time travel stuff, so it makes sense to me.
I think that's why I picked it, honestly. I mean, I saw, oh, time travel, oh, England, perfect. So
It sounds good. I'd be curious to see how they portray, like how she handles going from modern day back in time where they had such different constraints and expectations.
Yeah. Well, like one thing that I know that I've come across is she can't get paid for being a private eye or whatever. She can't do that because she's a woman. She can't get paid for that, of course. But she can work with another man who, of course, he can be paid. And he's like her helper, and he from that time period, he would be the kind of person that she is in her time period, where he's helping solve mysteries. But it's just a whole weird thing. I mean, it's just kind of funny. So she's kind of in those constraints, but she definitely is a little more forward and daring and not afraid to question people and jump in and say things that young ladies of the time period certainly wouldn't. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. I like that part of it. So cool. So I think we've got 3 good books for everyone that we suggest. And of course, we have, many more at the library. Also, I should mention the one that I had, we do have that whole series. I checked to make sure we have the whole series at our library if anybody's interested. So come check them out and see what else we've got, because we have lots more, like I said. So that's it for our book talk this week. Thanks everybody for stopping by, and we'll